Allow me a moment of your trust. With over 2 decades spent guiding souls and wrestling with the mysteries of faith, I have never before been compelled to deliver a message as urgent as the one you're about to hear. If you walk away now, you might forever lose the turning point your life's been aching for. What comes next isn't just a story, it's a lifeline. Stay with me, because destiny is no longer waiting for you in the margins. It's at your doorstep, knocking, expecting a reply right now. For much of my life, I have stood on countless pulpits, gazed into eyes searching for hope's flicker. I have listened, counseled, wept, and rejoiced with those seeking meaning in a world bursting with noise, yet echoing with emptiness. Yet today, something in me, something ancient, powerful, impossible to ignore, demands I speak to you directly. This moment you are experiencing right now is not a cosmic accident, nor a byproduct of random fate. I firmly believe with every fiber of my soul that your arrival here is divinely orchestrated for a reason beyond what you can yet envision. Like a skilled watchmaker, the Creator sets each encounter with perfect intricacy, knowing which tick of the clock will start a new chapter in your journey. Today is such a moment. Pause in the swirl of your daily existence. This isn't just another moment passing by. It is a crossroad, an invitation. Take a breath. Let the whirlwind of worry settle. Can you sense it? The subtle stirring within you that refuses to be drowned by lesser things. I stand as witness. There are no accidents here, only divine purposes waiting to be revealed. For years, I have witnessed people come and go, some healed, some hardened, but none untouched by the power of genuine encounter. So, I urge you, listener, throw open the doors of your heart, for what you are about to receive is not information for your mind, but transformation for your spirit. To those who feel the weight of disappointment, the ache of purpose yet unfulfilled, hear me, this is no ordinary offering. This is reclamation, this is awakening, this is the Father's call coming for you, and it will not be silenced. Imagine the hands that shaped you, hands that comforted and corrected, hands that built futures and bore burdens across lifetimes. Surely yours have known labor and loneliness, strength and suffering. But child, listen. The shadows that sometimes dim the light within you were never meant to eclipse it. No, your brilliance was handcrafted by your Maker, not as a generic soul in the churn of humanity, but as a unique answer to a unique need in this world. The ache that presses on your chest, that sense of not truly belonging, of being set apart, is not your weakness, but your testimony. From the very hour you drew breath, you were sent, not simply born. There is a commission pressed upon your soul that cannot be fulfilled by anyone else. The world might have tried to dull your glow, to send you messages of insignificance, but let me tell you, as a father in faith and a pilgrim with my own wounds, that your significance is not up for debate. You were made for this hour, and this hour is made for you. Have you noticed the restlessness in your spirit lately, that strange mixture of anticipation and unease? I have walked that road myself, and I assure you that stirring is not anxiety or confusion. It is the signal flare of destiny igniting, a quiet but unbreakable summons calling you to step forward into a new existence crafted for you before you even recognized your own longing. You have your own way of thinking, of seeing things others ignore, of feeling with a depth that sometimes leaves you raw. This is not a flaw, It is not an error in your design. It is instead a refinement, a preparation for the calling you now stand on the threshold of embracing. Hard times? Yes. We all have them, myself perhaps most of all. But the fires we walk through are furnaces of shaping. Do you think you are diminished by your hardship? On the contrary, each obstacle has deepened your resilience, seasoned your discernment, and emboldened the unique light God placed within you. Today, I urge you, don't shrink to fit into anyone else's mold, for your task is not to blend, but to stand as a beacon, shining understanding into confusion, hope into despair. Your strength is not isolated, it's a legacy. The same guiding spirit who led prophets, kings, and humble servants throughout the ages dwells in you right now, closer than your own heartbeat, if you'll only listen. And your past? Do not let it chain your soul. Others' doubts, their dismissals, none of these define you. They are but the static against the broadcast of your mission. This era, with its flood of uncertainty and skepticism, was chosen for your debut. In the coming days, clarity will dawn, opportunities will rise as if from nowhere, and you, if you remain present and aware, will witness doors swing open that have been long bolted shut. You may feel as though you've been in a holding pattern, waiting for a sign, praying for an answer. Consider my words your confirmation. The drought is ending. The things you have yearned for in the silence of your heart have reached heaven's ear. Now they return, not as wishes, but as reality, prepared specifically for you to walk into. As the landscape of your life shifts, maintain a posture of readiness. Blessings often come disguised as small moments of knowing, in the subtle changes of circumstance, in the friends and mentors placed quietly in your path. Be vigilant, for such changes are not accidents. They are God's roadside markers for your journey. Let me warn you, as any loving father or pastor must, when your calling looms large, so too does resistance. You may have felt the pushback of circumstances, the misunderstanding of others, even the allure of pathways that seem good but compromise your truth. Do not let this intimidate you. You are entering a phase of completion. Your true self, forged in shadow and sunshine, is emerging. The world will often try to make you justify yourself, to explain away your direction, to hand you a lesser script. Stop apologizing for the way you were made. Withdraw approval only from the one who authored your story. Those who cannot see their own calling will rarely recognize yours, and that's as it should be. Your spirit knows, and God knows. Let that be enough. This is your time. You were not dropped by accident into this slice of history. You are a chosen carrier of potential, a bringer of light in obscurity, a living monument to the hope that does not disappoint. So, beloved, take a breath. Feel the gravity of this hour. Let every fiber of doubt fall away at the feet of certainty, for what is unfolding around you is more than change. It is metamorphosis. Close your eyes and declare with me, I am ready. I am moving forward. I will answer my calling, not tomorrow, but today. There are moments rare, sacred, fragile in every life when the world seems to hold its breath. In my years as a shepherd, I have seen such moments arrive quietly, like a breeze stirring the curtains at dawn. I sense this is such a moment for you, right now. If you are still listening, let this next truth grip you. Within you lies a story written by God Himself, inked in longing and challenge, hardship and hope. Asterisk, asterisk. Can you feel it, the quiet urging to reach further, to know there is more? Stay, for this is the hour when you are called to remember not merely the facts of your life, but the very essence of who you truly are. For too long, you may have drifted, pulled by the current of others' expectations or the distractions of the urgent, laboring beneath burdens quietly accumulated. Even the world's applause can ring hollow if it drowns out the clearer purpose echoing in your soul. But hear me, this voice calls you to come home to yourself. When I first felt this stirring, I questioned it. How could it be that I, with my flaws and scars, was intended for something higher, something set apart? Yet the more I resisted, the louder the whisper became, until it thundered in my bones. You are not common, you are chosen. Your journey is preparation, not punishment. I have seen many resist their calling, believing they are too broken, too tainted by regret. But child, the journey that brought you here was always preparing you for something extraordinary. Allow this to settle in your heart. Openness is the gateway to transformation. Come with your questions, your wounds, your hunger for direction. It is no weakness to be uncertain. It is the mark of those brave enough to seek. If you are willing, the map will unfold beneath your feet. I've seen it in my own life, and in the lives of the many souls I've had the privilege to walk beside. Let us reflect together. Remember the hands, some gentle, some calloused, all reaching for you during your journey. Hands of mothers whispering prayer over you in the night. Hands of mentors correcting your path. Even hands that hurled stones, yes, even they prepared you, shaping your resilience for the higher road ahead. The world may have tried to dim your light, to tie your worth to shifting opinions, but I beg you, do not trade your birthright for the world's comfort. You are not defined by their labels. You are fashioned by the hand of God for a purpose only you can fulfill. There are gifts inside you, stone sealed and hidden, waiting for the sunlight of trust and courage to bring them forth. Some days you felt invisible. Some days you had to carry more than you thought you could. That was never meant to make you bitter, it was meant to make you ready. Like precious metal in the refiner's fire, the heat does not destroy, it purifies, bringing out what is priceless. Imagine for a moment if you dared to stand in the full reality of who you are. What would happen if you lived without apology, inhabiting fully the unique calling stamped into your bones? The shackles of fear and self-doubt would fall. The burdens that once threatened to overwhelm would become stepping stones. You would realize your story is not a random collection of moments to be endured, but a deliberate sending forth an answer to a question only heaven could ask. I have watched lives transformed, broken men and women become healers, outcasts become leaders, doubters become pioneers when they finally said yes to the quiet, persistent voice inside. That same voice is calling you even now, inviting you to step out of the shadows of hesitation. You are needed, not as a replica of someone else, but as an original work with your own song to sing. And so I challenge you, lay aside the habit of seeking validation from voices that do not know your worth. If the world could see the treasures God has hidden within you, they would wonder at the miracle you are. But it is not their approval you seek. It is the quiet yes in your spirit to the one who made you. There will be times when your uniqueness sets you apart, makes you misunderstood, even misjudged by those closest to you. I have walked through such valleys myself. Let those seasons strengthen your roots, deepen your compassion. When you encounter resistance, remember it is not a sign something is wrong, but evidence that your calling is real, urgent, and opposed only because it matters. You carry the light, my friend. Let it shine even when darkness falls more thickly around you. Where others see only obstacles, you are called to see the possibilities waiting within. Be the presence that changes the atmosphere, that brings clarity where there is confusion. Your gift is not arrogance, but faithful stewardship of what you alone have been entrusted to bear. In the silence of your own spirit, I ask you to reflect. Can you recognize the moments when your insight has shifted a conversation, or your compassion has brought comfort without a word? These are not accidents. You were made to carry the wisdom, to show the way forward. Even as you read or hear these words, I believe your spirit is remembering ancient truths, reconnecting with the deep well of knowing planted in you before your first breath. Are you sensing it? That longing to fit in, the subtle ache of feeling different, was never meant to wound you. It was meant to awaken you to the fact that you carry a fire that cannot be quenched by ordinary pursuits. You have always walked at a different pace, seen things others overlook, felt joys and sorrows with a rare intensity. Do not despise this. It is the mark of the chosen. If your heart feels weary from the road, take courage. Weariness is not the mark of defeat, but the evidence of a long obedience in the same direction. Your journey has meaning, and even the waiting is fruitful. When your gifts feel small, when the doors seem closed, trust that the timing is being prepared as surely as the path before you. And should you ever doubt your place, let me remind you, you were sent here. This is your history's chosen moment. Your influence, though unseen, has the power to shift destinies. The world desperately needs the light you bear. As you move forward into the unknown, let every step carry the weight of conscious intention. Refuse to disappear into the clamor of the common or the ease of the crowd. The world is crying out for authenticity, for souls lit by the fire of their divine calling. That is who you are. That is who you must become. Take this, then, as my call to you. Pause, breathe, listen. The answers you seek are not outside you. They are being drawn out from within by the Spirit who knows you better than you know yourself. Stand ready to release the treasures inside you. It is time to remember, reclaim, and walk boldly into your purpose. What you require for the journey will make itself known as you go. So I say again, stay, listen, let the remembering begin. If you are still with me on this path, know this: patience is never passive when fate is at work. In over 20 years of leading people through valleys of confusion into the sunlight of understanding, I have learned one thing: true preparation takes time. The world may teach you to sprint, to chase every opportunity, but God's calling moves at the rhythm of seasons, not seconds. Let me speak to that part of your heart weary from waiting. You see, sometimes the greatest miracles grow underground. Seeds, insignificant, easily dismissed, break their shells in darkness, pushing quietly through the earth before their shoots ever taste the sunday. This quiet progress is hidden from impatient eyes, but it is exactly where purpose is sown. Many of the strongest disciples I've known, and in truth my own most sacred turning points, did not occur in the rush of acclaim, but in the quietness of what felt like delay. If you feel paused, overlooked, or even forgotten, Let me offer a new lens. This is not rejection, but a divine holding in place, a loving restraint so that when your time comes, you will not only step forward, but stand strong. Consider for a moment the biblical figures who waited. Moses, tending sheep for 40 years in obscurity before returning to Egypt's courts. David, anointed while still a shepherd, learning humility and courage in caves and fields. Even Jesus spent years in quiet obedience, unseen by crowds, before stepping into his destiny. Their waiting was not wasted. In stillness, character is forged, vision is clarified, and the roots of your true self stretch deeper for lasting fruit. During such seasons, I have had my faith tested and my motives purified. Once, during a year when every plan I made crumbled, I wondered why God would close door after door. It felt as though a thick fog surrounded my calling, yet in that silence, I learned to listen not merely with my ears, but with the hidden senses of my heart. I learned that noise doesn't mean progress, and activity doesn't always equal approval. Let me assure you, the pause in your life is not a punishment for past failure. It is preparation for future trust. God only pauses those he intends to use in significant ways. The doors that remain shut are not arbitrary obstacles, but carefully timed boundaries set for your protection. They are shields from opportunities that would have crushed you or relationships that would have dimmed your light. Trust the boundaries. Their existence is proof you are cherished, not abandoned. Even in the moments when you wonder if heaven has gone silent, remember this: longing, sorrow, tears, they are not signs of abandonment, but the sacred language of the soul aligning with its source. I have witnessed people think their prayers vanished into emptiness, only to later find that every whispered plea was gathered and woven into a tapestry more beautiful than they dared hope. When God is at work in your life, often the first sign isn't outward success, but inward clarity. Old pain loosens its grip. Doubt gives way to growing confidence. Opportunities that once felt distant begin to shift, like fruit softening before the harvest. What you thought was your delay was actually your construction, your spirit being fitted for the weight of coming goodness. There are times when we crave just a single blessing, some spark to keep us going. But mark my words, when the waiting gives way, blessings will come not as a trickle, but as a flood. Each one will confirm what the silence foreshadowed, that the one who shaped you never left your side. Now, as your heart stands on the threshold of change, listen for the subtle leadings, the gentle nudge toward a new connection, an unexpected kindness, the shifting of long-closed doors. None of these are coincidences. Be alert. It is in these details that God reveals direction. Your part is to trust, to step forward boldly, and to hold your gifts with an open hand, ready to serve as you are called. I want to remind you, as lovingly as any father would, completeness does not require perfection. God does not wait for your flawless performance before he moves. He works through your cracks, your questions, even your hesitations. All he asks is for willingness. The greatest miracles occur not in the lives of the qualified, but the lives of the willing. There comes a point when you must simply respond. When the call comes, when confirmation lands in your spirit, act without giving fear the room to speak. Some will say you are premature, others will doubt your preparation, but the only validation you need is the peace that surpasses understanding, the sure sense that the time for holding back has ended. Declare it aloud, as I have so many times in darkened rooms. I am ready. I am moving forward. You will discover, in so doing, that obstacles begin to lose their power. The restrictions that once hemmed you in become stepping stones. What was out of reach draws near. Circumstances bend, hearts shift, and your own courage will surprise you. This, my friend, is what it means to walk by faith. Every unfinished story, every deferred hope, every lingering fear, these are not foes to be battled, but companions on your pilgrimage. In the patient spaces between action, trust is built, vision is sharpened, and inner reserves of strength are established. Waiting is, in truth, God's secret school for the soul, and the wisdom it produces cannot be gained any other way. Let me tell you plainly. The pain, the questions, even the silent nights, they are the chisels and brushes in the hand of the Master, sculpting you from the inside out. The responsibilities you bear, so heavy some days, are not distributed randomly. They are a sacred trust. You are being equipped not for ease, but for meaning. And when it is time, you will not enter into your calling uncertain or hesitant, but with quiet authority. For you will know, deep in your bones, that the slowness was not a denial, but a design. Every delay, every disappointment, every detour was an essential thread in a tapestry beyond your vision. Bring your full self to this season. Resist the urge to diminish your radiance or to sit quietly on the gifts you have been given. There are people, perhaps multitudes, waiting for what only you can offer. The world is not in need of another echo. It is crying out for your genuine contribution. If, as you read these words, you sense the stirring of long-buried dreams, do not grieve the time gone by. God wastes nothing. He redeems even the years the locusts have eaten and brings forth a harvest where others saw only arid wasteland. The waiting is not forever. It is part of the promise. In my own most difficult seasons, when I allowed myself to be still before God, listening for the faintest whisper, He always met me not with the answers I'd rehearsed, but with presence and assurance. Sometimes it came in the lyric of a song, sometimes in the gentle encouragement of a friend, and occasionally in the silent beauty of a sunrise that said, "You are not forgotten. The story is not finished." So, my dear friend, treasure the waiting, honor the silence, for in that fertile ground, your true power is being born. When the call comes, and it surely will, you will be ready not only to answer, but to lead, to comfort, and to shine. And in your shining, others, many others, will find their way. Have you ever known an evening so quiet that even the air itself seemed to listen for a voice, a sign, a subtle warning before a coming storm? After so many years of guiding souls, some desperate, some distracted, all precious, I can testify that some of life's most critical lessons emerge not in moments of triumph, but in hours of caution. These are the times when discernment, that gentle inner knowing, becomes more vital than oxygen. Today, I want to invite you into the quiet art of spiritual awareness, because this, dear friend, can mean the difference between captivity and divine breakthrough. Let me speak plainly. Not every pathway that opens before you is one you are called to walk. The modern world, with its dazzling promises and urgent voices, often mistakes activity for blessing. But if you have journeyed any distance in faith, you know sometimes the most promising door is only a mirage, a trap carefully veiled in offers that seem like answers to your deepest prayers. I have seen it in the stories of the faithful and, if I am honest, in the hardest chapters of my own life. There were times when what looked like golden opportunity was, in truth, a shimmering illusion designed to detour my spirit. I have reached out to grasp what appeared to be a blessing, only to find myself tangled, delayed, or even wounded. The pain of these missteps taught me not to fear, but to listen more closely, to cultivate the sort of prayerful stillness that can distinguish God's gentle nudge from the world's relentless push. Pause with me now. In the sacred hush, recall the moments in your own life when you sensed something was off, though you couldn't quite explain it. That vague unrest, that flicker of doubt. Friend, this is not merely anxiety or weakness. It is often the voice of the Holy Spirit whispering, "Wait, listen, this is not for you." Do not ignore this warning. I've learned the hard way that ignoring these sacred cautions leads to needless detours. In truth, the enemy of your soul seldom presents himself in the stark guise of evil. More often, he dresses up as hope, solution, even blessing. He watches for your seasons of waiting, for your longing for breakthrough, and then steps into the silence with alternatives, paths well trodden by impatience and immediate satisfaction. I cannot tell you how many times after the fact I have realized that what my soul craved most was not the thing being offered, but the safety and alignment found only in God's presence. If the offer, the relationship, the opportunity draws you into chaos, confusion, compromise, or subtle unrest, heed this: it is not from God. "My peace I give to you," said Jesus, "not as the world gives, but as a deep-seated assurance, even when the world is swirling." In these seasons, your greatest defense is not in rushing to decide, but in learning to linger in the question. Patience is your shield when the enemy's most cunning tactics are clothed as urgent invitations. The adversary doesn't need you to fall headlong. He needs only to steer you a few degrees off course, slowly, gently enough to delay your destiny and diminish your impact. I urge you, do not make quick agreements in moments of vulnerability, even if the world is screaming that you will lose your chance. Real blessings do not arrive with panic, manipulation, or depleting demands. They come with a startling sense of peace, a supernatural clarity. I have learned, after years of mistakes and redemptions, that when God opens a door, you walk through it whole, not fractured. There is harmony, not haste, in God's invitations. Let this season be one of sacred boundaries. Guard your spirit as you would guard a treasure chest in wartime. You need not fear missing out. You need only fear missing God's best because you moved ahead of His voice. In my own calling, I had to learn to love saying no, not as a rejection of good things, but as an acceptance of the best things. Discernment will require you to disappoint some people, to step away from things that appeared good for things that are blessed. You must learn, as I learned, that sometimes you are not being overlooked, you are being spared. Sometimes God withholds things not as rejection, but as redirection from danger you cannot see. Should you find yourself misunderstood because of the boundaries you set, know that this is frequently the cost of clarity. The crowd may never understand the discipline it takes to wait on God's confirmation, but those who move only at His signal walk in a different kind of freedom, a freedom not purchased in the marketplace, but forged in the patient chambers of faith. Embrace the time of hiddenness. Right now, in the shadows of your private journey, God is shaping you for purpose the public will one day see, but cannot yet fathom. I want you to know, as one who walks this path daily, that your isolation does not mean abandonment. Rather, it is often the finishing school for the next season of fruitfulness. In the stillness, listen for the quiet wisdom of God. Do not yield to the tyranny of the urgent. If your heart races, your mind whirls, your fear says, now or never, pause. This is not God's voice. In years of ministry, I have never once seen God rush a soul into confusion. He offers assurance, patient invitation, timeless grace. You are not forgotten in the quiet. You are being preserved for significance. It may seem as though those around you are leaping ahead, gaining ground, but often these gains are fleeting. What God has for you is lasting, solid as bedrock. Let the world misunderstand, let them misconstrue your caution. You answer to a higher voice and follow a map drawn by invisible hands. Be wary of advice that flatters your desire for approval but erodes your peace. Not all voices that prophesy your success are heaven-sent. Some are mimicries designed to draw your spirit into confusion and exhaustion. Test every word, every opportunity, against the Spirit's witness within you. Hear me, your discernment is your lifeline. Maintain healthy boundaries now, even if it feels like loss. When God wants to add, He adds without sorrow. When He withholds, He shields you from pitfalls you could never anticipate. The world is loud, but God speaks in the low whisper, in the gentle nudge that tells you, rest. This is holy ground. So I say, with all the conviction earned in years of spiritual warfare and gentle victories, do not fear the quiet. Lean into it. In the stillness, you will receive wisdom that cannot be bought, a knowing that will anchor you in storms and light your path when lesser hopes fail. Tonight, as you reflect on these words, pray for discernment more than for conclusions. Desire clarity of spirit above progress in circumstance. Ask God not only for open doors, but for the wisdom to recognize which ones are His. And as you walk on, sometimes alone, sometimes misunderstood, remember, you are not walking away from destiny, but toward it, every time you say yes to peace and no to pressure. Soon, in God's precise timing, the stillness will yield to unstoppable movement, the fog to brilliant purpose, and all will see that your waiting has become the seedbed of miracles. There comes a time, my beloved, when it feels as though every answer has evaded your desperate chase, every prayer has slipped through your waiting hands. I have stood in that place, yes, even after decades of teaching, of shepherding, of pouring my soul into others. And it was there, stripped of certainty, emptied of easy words, that I discovered a truth so freeing, so essential, it changed the entire trajectory of my ministry and my very life. This truth is simple yet profound. A deeper knowing is forming within you, even when silence rings loudest. Too often, we imagine revelation comes only with a shout or a vision, but in my experience, divine clarity is born in quiet, nearly imperceptible shifts within our spirit. For years, like so many, I sought outward signs, but God, in His wisdom, chose instead to build within me an inner sanctuary, a refuge of understanding that could weather life's fiercest storms. Tonight, I want to call you into that deeper space, a space where faith is not just belief, but embodiment, where trust is not mere hope, but the pulse of every breath. You may find your mind clouded with questions: why certain doors closed, why trusted friends faded, why circumstances felt so heavy. Yet in this pause, this odd, quiet season, God has been preparing something profound. Remember, there is a wisdom that cannot be taught in a classroom, nor earned through tireless striving. It is discovered as you press through confusion without turning away, as you obey the gentle whisper even while longing for thunder. My calling to you is this: do not mistake the quiet for abandonment. Do not label uncertainty as emptiness. The seed of your next season is germinating below the surface, and very soon, clarity will unfold with a gentleness that brings unshakable peace. You are about to perceive with new eyes, my friend, to feel with a heart now cleansed of old burdens. There will be mornings when the fog finally lifts, and you see not just what has changed outside of you, but what has awakened within. The answers will not rush through the front door. They will emerge from the quiet, knowing that I am called, I am held, I am whole, right here, right now. When the Spirit's wisdom opens up in you, it changes more than your thoughts. It becomes the compass for every step. Your decisions, once reactive or burdened with what-ifs, are suddenly anchored in a divine certainty. You move with purpose. You speak with gentle command. Even your waiting is different now, colored by expectancy rather than anxiety. Let me share what I learned at the lowest point of my journey. Faith is not the elimination of questions. It is discovering a peace so deep, so real, that questions can rest quietly beside it. The understanding coming to you is not head knowledge alone, but sacred understanding, an intimacy with God that enables you to face darkness with your head held high. You realize every trial, every loss, every lonely night was a chapter in your preparation. It is time to release the striving, to lay down the notion that you must make everything happen with your own strength. It is time to let go of calling this confusing season a mistake. Your delays are not evidence of being held back. No, they are the evidence of God's intentionality in your soul's development. He isn't slow. He is precise, moving pieces in the unseen realms for your ultimate good. You begin to see why some relationships ended suddenly, why you were pulled from one place to be planted in another. You see that the hand that pruned so harshly was, in truth, making space for abundance. The stillness was not empty, it was holy. The loneliness was not punishment, it was sanctifying. One morning, you will wake with the sensation that everything is about to change, and you will not need to rush or strive. The effect of this sacred knowing is visible in your demeanor, a quiet power, a gentle strength, a glow others cannot help but notice. Those who once misunderstood your silence will recognize your authority. Those who doubted will be stilled by your calm. There is no need, from this point forward, to explain yourself to those who do not yet see what God is doing. Your transformed presence will be enough. Speak only as the Spirit gives utterance. Rest in the knowledge that you are finally being put together, not coming apart. And when the change breaks, the long-awaited, painstakingly prepared change, you will discover that every moment of patient waiting was an ingredient of the miracle. Suddenly, what was confusion becomes clarity. What was heaviness becomes joy. You will know with an internal resonance that this new order, this alignment of your life, is not manufactured but given by grace. So let go of your fear of the slowness of God, your worry that you've been overtaken or forgotten. You have been, in truth, promoted in the silence and hidden away for a season so that the work in you would be ready for the work through you. Trust that every no, every blocked road, every stretch of wilderness was an act of holy protection, swiftly moving you toward a place that only you can fill. In this new season, your faith will do more than benefit you. It will set a beacon for others, those restless, wandering souls who need a living testimony that stillness can birth power and suffering can become seed for blessing. Your very presence will radiate the possibility of wholeness, the reality of redemption, the certainty that God does not waste a single tear. Take a moment even now, close your eyes, breathe deeply, and say inwardly, I receive this peace. I welcome this knowing. I am ready for what comes next. Let these words become more than a mantra. Let them become the pulse of your movement through this world. The world may not yet recognize what has awakened within you, but they cannot deny its impact when it appears. You are about to see things align, answers flow, burdens lift, and beauty emerge from brokenness. All that you need will come. All that you have waited for arrives, not by force, but through the release of deep, surrendered trust. You are seen, cherished, and called. As your journey bends forward, walk confidently, not into battle, but into fulfillment. There is nothing wasted, nothing lost. Only the careful, skillful hands of the Master turning your hidden struggle into a public testimony. Very soon, the fullness for which you were designed will overflow into every corner of your life and the lives of all you touch. Move forward, beloved. Knowing you are not alone, a deeper knowing sustains you, guides you, and will never let you go. If you are hearing my voice right now, still attentive, still open, still expectant, know that we have crossed together from understanding to transformation. This is not the close of your story, but the threshold of a new chapter. My greatest privilege, after decades of walking with searching, suffering, and soaring souls, is to bless you into this season of uncontainable living. Let me speak to your destiny with humble awe. Every moment, every delay, every ache and hidden victory was the groundwork for what is about to bloom. You are not standing in the ruins of what could have been. You are rising as one who has been refined, set apart, and now released. The world is about to experience something it has never seen. Your life lived in the fullness of the calling that was always meant for you.